My wife has been hospitalized for postpartum psychosis. This is an entry from her journal. My wife has been in an inpatient unit for a few weeks now. Every day without her feels like an uphill battle. It tears me apart that she can't be home with us, but right now, home isn't safe for her or for our baby. I'm doing my best to hold things together, no paternity leave, juggling the baby's needs, visiting her, and just trying to survive this storm we're in. Recently, the staff shared an entry from her journal. Reading it shattered me, but I'm sharing it here because maybe, just maybe, it could help someone else see the warning signs sooner than I did. February 6, 2024. I'm a new mom, but I don't know where my baby is. I hear crying. Not normal crying, but shrill, piercing, impossible crying. It never stops. Day and night, it claws its way into my ears, tearing at me, filling every crack of my mind. Even when I lie in this cold, unfamiliar bed, unable to sleep, it's there. A phantom cry I can't escape. Sometimes, I feel blood dripping from my ears. I tell them, beg them, to check, but they lie to me. They say there's no blood. I know they're lying. They look right into my eyes and tell me I'm fine. But I'm not fine. I see it. I feel it. They don't care about me. They want me broken. They want me suffering. There's no baby here. Just me. And them. My captors. I want to cover my ears, to block out that god-awful crying, but I can't. I'm shackled. They've chained me to this bed like an animal. The people who took me are cruel. They poke and prod at me like I'm not human. They ignore me, leaving me in filth until it suits them to clean me up. Then they act like nothing happened. They don't hear my screams. They don't hear me begging. Sometimes, they let me loose, but if I fight back, they chain me tighter. I remember once, I managed to grab a fistful of one of their hair. I pulled until it came free. She cried. Why was she crying? She's the one who took me from my baby. I don't know how long I've been here. Days? Weeks? Months? Time doesn't exist in this place. I don't even remember my baby's face anymore. But I remember my husband. I remember him standing there like a coward while they dragged me away, kicking and screaming. I hate him for it. I remember the lights flashing as they threw me into their van. The needles. The darkness. When I woke up, I was here, chained to this bed, staring at a brown stain on the ceiling that's starting to look like a face. The crying never stops. A baby crying. I'd do anything to find that baby and make it stop. Anything. I know they're watching me. The cameras are everywhere, tiny black eyes blinking from the corners of the room, tracking my every move. I feel their stares burrowing into my skin, watching, judging, waiting. This isn't a hospital. This is an experiment. Every time they come in, they inject me with something, some sick, twisted cocktail of chemicals. At first, it just made me feel strange, like I was swimming in my own body. But now, the injections bring something darker. They fill me with rage, blind and uncontrollable. Afterward, I can't remember what happened. There are gaps in my memory, blank spaces where time disappears. What are they doing to me when I'm not myself? There are others here, trapped like me. They shuffle through the halls, ghosts of who they used to be. Some are unnervingly calm, their faces blank as if all their fight has been drained from them. They smile at our captors, laugh even, like they've been broken and rebuilt into something unrecognizable. At first, I hated them for it. I couldn't understand why they would cozy up to the monsters who keep us locked away. But then I realized, they're pretending. They have to be. They're playing the long game, lulling the captors into a false sense of control. So I decided to pretend too. I smiled. I nodded. I said, "Thank you," when they handed me the dull pencil and the thin stack of paper. I know why they gave it to me, it's worthless as a weapon. But they underestimated me. They thought I wouldn't use it to expose the horrors of this place. Yesterday, they let me call my husband. I told him I hate him. I told him I can never forgive him for letting them take me. He said they're trying to help me. Help me? Does he even know what's happening here? Does he even care? I don't think he ever loved me. How could he, if he could just stand there and let them rip me away from my baby? My baby. The thought of him burns in my chest. I need to know he's safe. I need to hold him, to smell his hair and feel his little fingers gripping mine. They tell me I might hurt him, but that's a lie. I would never hurt him. He's all I have left. This place is a prison. The windows are bolted shut, and thick iron bars keep the outside world an impossible dream. Every time I try to picture freedom, the walls seem to close in tighter. The brown stain on the ceiling above my bed has started to move. It shifts and writhes when I'm not looking, twisting into grotesque shapes. Sometimes, I think I see faces in it. The faces aren't just staring anymore. They're whispering. When the lights are off and the room is at its darkest, they murmur words I can't fully understand, a mix of gibberish and commands that burrow deep into my brain. One night, I swore the stain extended itself toward me, a shadowy tendril brushing against my face. I screamed, but no one came. Last night, I heard a sound, a soft, muffled sobbing. It wasn't the phantom baby crying I hear in my head. It was real, human. It was coming from the vent above my bed. I climbed onto the bed, pressing my ear to the cold metal, and whispered, "Is someone there?" At first, nothing. Just silence. Then, a voice, a small, terrified voice, whispered back, "They're coming for you next." I scrambled back, heart hammering, but the vent stayed silent. I stayed awake all night, waiting for the door to burst open, for them to drag me off to whatever comes after this. When they finally did enter, it wasn't what I expected. They didn't inject me. They brought me to another room, a room with no windows, no stain, just a single chair and a bright light hanging from the ceiling. They told me to sit. I refused. They pushed me into the chair and strapped me down. They asked me questions, endless, nonsensical questions. "Do you feel the baby's presence?" they asked. "Can you hear the whispers now?" I tried to stay silent, but when they threatened to take away my visits to the baby, I broke. I shouted at them, told them they were monsters, that they didn't deserve to speak of my child. Then they brought out a mirror. It was huge, leaning against the wall, but something was wrong with it. My reflection wasn't me. It was the stain, grinning back at me, its tendrils reaching out as if to pull me in. I screamed, and they laughed. If you're reading this, please, please, I need you to find me. I don't know where I am. I don't know if I'll ever see my baby again. But if someone finds this paper, it means there's still hope. It means I haven't disappeared completely. And if I do disappear, remember this, I didn't give up.